So tell us, and you know, you've already kind of touched on things about the sacrifices you've made as an indie artist, and you know, if those sacrifices were worth it, and you know, you pretty much have told us, hey, I walked away. I walked away from my family. I walked away to be a mom, you know, a mother, a wife, you know, and take care of my family and the things that need to be done. And you put your music aside, even though that music meant so much to you, and just by talking to you, you can tell it's what you do is like such a big part of you. And, you know, it's like I always look at it, like for me, I mean, if I couldn't play, it's like part of me. It's like there's something in my soul, like part of my heart. And if I couldn't, it'd be like taken out. There'd be a part of my heart missing because it's so much of me and so much that I love. I mean, I could care less if our songs did anything other than stay in our studio and you know, on the computer. I don't care. I love playing. I love that. To me, that's like you said earlier, it's a relief. It's like I can have the worst day, I could have the best day, I could be sad, I could, you know, be whatever, and I go get behind my kit and it's like, boom, it just changes. And when I get off of it, it's like my whole attitude is like positive. The negative is gone. And you know, some of my friends are learning how to play the guitar and stuff like that. And I tell them, you know, oh, I don't have the time, I'm working late. And it's like, listen, 5 minutes. Sit down with your guitar, 5 minutes, work on 1 or 2 chords. And I said, I guarantee you that 5 minutes, when you get out of that 5 minutes, your attitude has changed. You're going to feel so much better because that's what music does for you.
Oh, it's therapy. Like I love when people say that working with me is, I mean, is this a good thing or bad thing? But it's like therapy, and as it should be.
Yes.
And I was going to say, when I stepped back in fully to writing again, and I was heading to the studio one day in my car, and because I was recording something, I wasn't back to being an artist at that point. I was back to writing, more writing. And I was going to the studio to record something just so I had a good demo of it. And I remember saying to myself out loud in the car, where did you go? Because I felt so back to that. It felt like, and it was fine. I wasn't regretting it. I was just like, wow, where did you go? Because that was me. I was in that car driving to the studio, excited about the song, just, you know, all those pieces. So they are obviously, I mean, as they would be, a very important part of me. I mean, I started writing when I was 8. So, I mean, I've been writing a long time.
You have, but it shows though that it's natural. I mean, I just by talking with you and listening to you and listening to your music, you can tell it comes from a natural ability, creativity, to do that. Because
it's in my veins.
Well, see, you know, but you know, and because you're working with people, if they had the same talents you did, you wouldn't be working with them, would you?
That's interesting. My new thing is that there are people that make pies, right? And they make a really good pie. They can make a pie for themselves and it's a good pie.
Right.
I'm a bit different because I'm a pie maker, because I'm making all different pies with all different people, right? So there's a difference to that. There is a definite art to that, to be able to, because I know, and I mean, this is just an observation, that not everybody can go into the room with someone and sit there and write a song with them.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm very intuitive. I'm very empathetic. Like I can literally walk into the room with someone and my mood will change depending on what's happening with them.
Yes.
They haven't even said a word. Or I can also walk into a room, whatever, having a bit of whatever day, and be with someone and all of a sudden, whoa, I just feel great.
Yep.
You know? So, the pie maker thing is a great analogy for me, of looking for, pie makers. There's pie makers, but there's not a lot of pie makers, even though people may think, oh, everybody writes songs. They do, but there's a difference to what they're writing and how they're writing them.
Right.
You know?
Well, like you said, I mean, anybody could make a pie. Okay. Anybody can bake a pie and make one.
It's a good pie. It's a good pie, but it's their pie. That's my pie.
Yes. But but a true baker, okay, will make the pie the way it should be made. Because, oh yeah, I made this pie, it tastes great. You make the pie, I taste it. Oh man, this is like heaven. That's the difference. Okay. Yeah. Is that, mine tasted really good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Yours tasted like heaven. And so, it's not that mine didn't taste good. It's just, yours was better. I mean, when I put it in my mouth, my taste buds went, woo, those are great. Versus, hey, that's okay. So that's the way, I'm getting all that from you, is that, you're like the master chef of the kitchen, and you're, you have all these people underneath you, which is the artists that you work with and you write for, but you're the master chef, and you're saying, okay, you made that dish really good, but if you add in this ingredient or take out that ingredient, it's going to be much better. It's going to taste better. Well, and that's what you do. I mean, right? Am I right on that, or what?
Yeah, well, I was going to say there's this movie, and I think it's called, I'm just looking it up, I think it's called Simply Irresistible. It's an old movie. It's an old movie, but it's about a chef that's running a restaurant and having some challenges running a restaurant. She goes to the market, she gets all her ingredients, but she happens to buy this crab that's in the market. And I think he's kind of a magic crab. So she brings everything back to the restaurant. She puts him up on a shelf. Thank goodness she doesn't cook him and throw him in the pot. Anyway, he sits on the shelf, and everything she cooks, now she's stirring soup, and a tear, she's sad while she's making the soup, sad about something in her life, and a tear falls into the soup, and she stirs it into the soup. So everything from that point on with that crab, when it's served, whatever she's feeling goes into her food that she's making. And when it's served to the people in the restaurant, when they serve the soup, they're all sitting there sobbing. And then she makes a dessert, and she's feeling so in love, and she's making this, and she's putting it together, and there's so much passion in it. And she serves it to the people in the restaurant, and they're all so in love with each other. At the tables, and you can see them. I joke that I'm the magic crab.
No, that's, I would say.
Then what I'm feeling goes into the songs, and I love that. People do say, I mean, I have people coming up to me and they start crying just talking about the song. And it's like, I like that. But I love the most that it's creating so much emotion in them. And that was my goal. That was my goal with my music, is feel something.
If you don't have that in your song, then your song is, as far as I'm concerned, nothing. And I like to feel something when I listen to a song. I don't care what the genre is. I don't care if it's soft, if it's medium, if it's really heavy. It doesn't matter to me, but it has to make me feel like, one of the things I do before my shows is I'll put on an LP and on vinyl and listen to it. It just, and old ones. I listen to the 80s and 90s stuff, and, Leonard Skinner and Van Halen and, all those. But it evokes something inside me. And it's like, puts me in that mood. It's like, yeah, let's go get him, Dr. Dawg. And you know what I mean? It changes me. And every, different LP I put on changes me in a different mode. It makes me feel something a little different. I'm still happy. I'm still feeling great, but it changes it a little bit. And it's hard to explain how it does. I mean, Van Halen makes me feel a bit, different than Leonard Skinner, than the Talking Heads or whatever, but it all evokes something inside me. And that's something that you have a gift for, that, by talking with you and listening to your music, it's just like, this is great, because now, before my show, I get to listen to one more artist and help me get into that mode, and because I look at who I'm going to be, interviewing, and that's kind of how my mind just picks it out. I just go to my rack and pick out an album, put it on, and it just all works out, So, but no, I want to say I'm grateful for the music that you put out, because like I said, I get one more artist to put into my rotation. And speaking of that, we're gonna go into one more song from Rosanne. It's Give Me One More Night.
That I've laid here, I just assumed that all the years would come and go and you'd be near. All the nights you held me close, we laughed about who loved who the most. I never thought they'd disappear. I can hear your heartbeat, I can feel your breath, I can feel your warmth inside my chest. I can feel your fingers softly touch my chin, I can feel your lips against my skin. You know that it's the hardest part, to reach, to touch you in the dark and realize that you're not here. I close my eyes and try to sleep, but it keeps coming back to me. I always thought I'd be where you are. I can hear your heartbeat, I can feel your breath, I can feel your warmth inside my chest. I can feel your fingers softly touch my chin, I can feel your lips against my skin. I don't wanna leave, I don't wanna stay. Give me one more night for what I need to say. With endless things I should have said, and sunlight is climbing up the wall. I wonder if you really knew how much I wanted you. I should have said it all. I can hear your heartbeat, I can feel your breath, I can feel your warmth inside my chest. I can feel your fingers softly touch my chin, I can feel your lips against my skin. I can hear your heartbeat, I can feel your breath, I can feel your warmth inside my chest. I can feel your fingers softly touch my chin, I can feel your lips against my skin. I don't wanna leave, I don't wanna stay. Give me one more night for what I need to say. I don't wanna leave, I don't wanna stay. Give me one more night.
That was 2 thumbs up on that song. I like that song.
Thank you. Well, that's, as I said, you should check out the new video.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I will. I've got all these things on my list, and then you're right there, like my third thing. I'm looking at going, video watch but Magpie, he's got me on the leash and working me hard as a dog.
Well, can I mention? Are you cool with me mentioning who's part of my album? Because it's not a long list, but I really do value the people that are part of my experience, my album, and my music. It takes a village, as you know.
Miss Rosanne, you can, and Magpie's going to give me crap for saying that. He's probably going to cut it out. He doesn't like me to say this. That's my Southern coming out when I say Mr. or Miss. He doesn't like that. He goes, "No, don't call him that." It's just.
I'm cool.
So no, Miss Rosanne, you can put out anybody's name you want to, because this is your time. This is your interview. So anybody that's helped you, that you want to put name out there and give them a shout out, you go right ahead.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to do is just share who is part of this album. So for one, my album was funded by Factor, which is a funding body up here in Canada that you apply for grants. So I'm grateful that people joke it's like winning the lotto, but it kind of is, So Factor, and they also helped me with my first album. They've helped me with my first album as well. But as far as produced, it was produced by Will Scholar, as I mentioned. It was mixed by Ben Pelchette, who is a producer, an artist, just phenomenal. And Will is producer, but also multi-instrumentalist. So he played most of the instruments on the album. And then it was engineered also by Will. And then Vasey, who owns Kensington Sound in Toronto. That studio's been there for 50 years. And I haven't known it its whole 50 years, but I go back with the studio. He also engineered one of the songs on the album, Barely. Mark Kelso played drums. And as a singer, I am very attuned to the drums and the bass. On stage, I am listening to the drums and the bass. I married a drummer. Drummers are solid. They are grounded. They are the most real people in the band. And I can say that for a fact. Kevin Fox played cello. So he played cello on Gimme One More Night. He also played cello on Strong. But in Gimme One More Night, it's a haunting, perfect sound. It's wonderful. There's two songs on the album that I co-wrote with a writer that I worked with quite a lot with other artists as well as Northeastern. So that was on One More Line and Look Up. And it was mastered by Andy Krem in Toronto as well, who used to be my manager, and he was my producer of my first album. And then after me, he went, you know what? I'm moving into mastering. Too many women he was trying to manage. It just wasn't working. And then it was my artwork was done by Michael Wycraft, who's no longer with us. But he loved this album. He's done probably 700, 800 album covers for many artists in Canada. And I would call him and he'd say, I'm crying again. I'm listening to this album, but I love it. He said, it's one of the best. It's the best album I've heard from a female artist in 25 years. So that made me cry.
I bet.
But we lost him just before the album came out, but he'd already shared it early. So he must have in his heart known something without knowing. And he posted online about this. Everybody's got to own this album. So that's nice. I mean, that's something. So
did he, no, it is. It's more than something. Did he create his, the covers based on the songs in the album?
Because he sent me some album covers to look at, and this was one of the album covers, and he said, look at the album cover and listen to your album. And it's perfect. I have an affinity with trees for some reason, and just the roots and the trees and the reel and just everything about trees. So when he said, send me a picture of a silhouette of you, I'm like, just a silhouette? Doesn't matter. Do I need makeup? No makeup, just a silhouette. And he took the silhouette and put the image of the trees in it. It couldn't be more perfect. Like, it's perfect. And if you had my album in hand, you would see that I've got it here. It's beautifully designed. And it also has the booklet in it. It has the CD in it. So all the lyrics are in it. So he did a beautiful, beautiful job. And I'm extremely grateful for it. And
oh, yeah.
And I knew of Michael, but I hadn't worked with him before. And when I did this album, I thought at the very outset of it, I would love to have Michael design this cover. And he did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was just, as I said, that's my team.
Well, that's, it sounds like you have a phenomenal team and that you've met and created relationships with individuals that are, here's that word again, phenomenal individuals, and that's a blessing. It's losing somebody that has done something for you and your music. Yeah. It's like a little piece of you has gone and, because they've helped you and they've become part of you in a way. It's like you guys you of course you're friends, but when somebody does something like that for you and he creates something like that for your music that displays and reflects your music, it's a loss, and it's somebody that you cannot replace, and it's something that will never be duplicated. His work and his art was his. So I don't care who you find in the future, it'll never be like his. And I think very rarely, to be honest with you, that the way you think and the way he thought, and probably your whole team, that's rare. Okay, people don't give it that much thought and emotion into their music anymore, and into how they distribute it or how they package it. It's just, stick a horse on there with a kid on it and we're good. But what does that relay? I mean, when you're looking at the album cover or something, you're going, okay, it's a horse and a kid, but what does it mean? They just push stuff out, and it's.
But you know what? There is a whole lane. There's always been the lanes in music, right? There's the popular lane. It's always going to be there. It's never going to change. But what's happening a little bit now, or a lot bit now, is there's people over here in the grass, and they're so good.
Yes.
They are so good. And there's so much depth. Depth is a huge word. There's so much depth to what they do, and that they do care and they do take the time, but they're not as visible. This whole industry now is about trying to get visibility, especially for something over in the grass over here, because people can't find it. How do you find that music? How do you find those people that care? It's a real challenge. It is definitely a huge challenge in this world right now. Spotify algorithms, they're picking up the popular again. But it doesn't mean that these people in the grass aren't amazingly good, because they are.
Well, you know what's happened, because back in the 70s and 80s, there were the underground radio stations. There were the college DJs. There were even radio stations that ran certain nights for new musicians, new music, local musicians. But the biggest way that independent music got out was the underground radio stations and the college. And they don't do that. They're playing mainstream now. Yeah. And so what the doctor's job here is going to be doing is going to be looking at trying to get a underground radio program going that does nothing more than put out the music, and try to get people educated in a different taste bud. It's like trying new food. It's like, I don't want to try asparagus or something, or I don't like clams, but it's like, try it. And then it's like, like you said, you try something, it's like, oh man, I really like it. It's the only way people are ever going to get, independent artists are ever going to get visibility, is having an outlet like that.
And I don't know what it is anymore. So that's amazing that you're taking that on. What was the movie? Was it Pirate Radio?
Yes, exactly.
It's that kind of, it's not popular, but it's so good. It's undeniable. It's like, it's just good music that people are like, I know there's probably people that would love to hear my music, but it's not as accessible. I mean,
there. You got it right. They have to search for you, or if you're lucky, you get popped up on a rotation, and it's like, but other than that, you're right. It's like, how do I get my music out to more people? Because, it's great, all the social media and all the music platforms, but again, if I'm not aware of you, if I don't know about you, I've never heard one of your songs, how am I ever going to listen to you? How am I ever going to find you? I can go onto Spotify and every blue moon, one of our songs will pop up on, in their rotation. And it's like, oh, that's great. But it's like, I haven't heard that for like a couple months, and so it's like, how are people going to, you just can't hear a song one time. Well, you can, but it's like, the more you hear that song, the more it becomes to you, it relates to you, but
climate, right? It becomes part of your climate. And that's why this is amazing, because it's invaluable to artists or writers or artists or whatever, whatever category, to be able to get visibility.
yes,
So I'm very appreciative of having the opportunity to have my music played around the world for people to just go, oh, that's good. I like that. And to be in rotation in certain parts of the world where people can actually go, oh, I didn't know that was there. Yeah, exactly. That's how you
yes,
find. That's how
yes.
you find. How you discover. But there's a lot of stuff out there that you got to cut through, right? There's a lot of, because anybody can put out a song. Back to the pie maker idea. Anybody can put out a song, but do you have 10 more?
Yep.
To claim to be an artist, you have to have more than one song.
Yes.
Got it. You're either living it or you're kind of not. And it's different of wearing it as opposed to being it.
Well, it's like a part-time job versus a full-time job, okay? Or it's a hobby versus a job. So, yeah, I do music as a hobby, okay? No, I do music as my job. This is my life. This is what I do. And you're right. You've got to put all of it in here instead of just saying, well, our guys get together once a month. We have some beer, barbecue, and we play. No. You've got to have that commitment and keep pushing that commitment. So,
but the hardship for musicians is, as much as you can live your life as a musician, okay, we get that. You still have to make a living somewhere. You can't always make it in music.
No, not anymore.
So you are really doing, like I worked with a guy the other day, and yes, he's phenomenal in his band. And his band plays, and they go out and they gig, and they're trying to tour, and they're promoting an album, but he's still working.
Yes.
He still has a job, but he has flexibility in his job where he can say, I need to go for 2 weeks because I got a tour. And
right.
And I love that the company he's working for says, okay, that's cool. We know this, and we'll figure it out. That is letting people, that's a great way of actually treating people that work for you and understanding they're not just there for work. People are not just, some people are, yes, but some people, they have other things they're trying to do.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the challenge in music right now. There is so little income. It's not just one stream anymore. And I mean stream as bucket that you invested in. It's like you do this. Like me. Yeah, I've got my artist bucket. Yeah. And I've got my writing bucket. So I'm writing and producing people. Right. And then I've also got my sync bucket, which is like radio, TV, and moving that forward. But it's all these, you're running a corporation.
Yes. Yes. Well, nowadays for the independent artist, you have to do that. You have to promote yourself. You have to run your own business because the industry, and I excuse the language, but it sucks. I mean,
it does.
They're doing nothing but bending over the artists and taking advantage of them. And again, the music platforms and stuff are great, but it's so hard for an independent artist to get listened to and listened to by the average listener because there's so many out there. Like you said, it's just flooded with different bands and artists that are mediocre. And just like I said about a band can write 10 songs and one of them is just the best song ever, but they're burying it. So what they're doing is they're burying the great artists, the talented artists like you, and because it's just the market's being flooded with all this other crap. And
60,000 songs a day.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. So how can you keep up with it? How can I, as an average listener, say, well, how can I find Rosanne? How could I listen to her song? Well, you can't, and you won't, because she can't get out there and get the exposure she should have and needs, because she's not mainstream. And, if you're not mainstream, the FM stations will fucking not play you. And that's sad. I mean, I talked to one artist and it's like, I've just been, killing myself to get on these FM stations. And I got one that'll play me, but that's it. Nobody else will. And I'm thinking, man, you write some great stuff. You have some, just like you have some great songs. You have some phenomenal stuff. What is wrong with these people? Why?
That points to how valuable it is what you're doing. It points to an MMRadio, right? It points to the fact that you are singling out artists and taking time with them.
Oh, yes.
Caring is a simple word, but it means so much, because when you care to help somebody and point it out because you are passionate about it. Like, I work with people, I'm excited when they put out the material. I'm behind it 100% because it's good, and I'm happy to be there for them. So there's more of this, and having your followers. Yeah, you don't need everybody to like you. You don't. But you need a core. Like, I have a subscriber. I have an email subscriber list, and I think I have about 800 people in there now, and all those people signed up because they
like you. Yeah,
and it's a small village, but it's my little village, and I'm okay with that. I don't need millions. I really don't. I just need a core of people that go, oh, have an appreciation for it.
Right. That's you just want to know that your music's been appreciated by somebody. And again, like you said, you don't need to be 1 million followers or 2 million streams or whatever. I mean, again, you know in your heart your music is good, number one. And number two, it just makes us feel better when we have that core, like you said, that core around us to say, hey, I don't personally care if you like it or not, but it makes me feel good that you do like it. And thank you so much for doing that. But, MMRadio and Dr. Dawg and Magpie Sally, my goal as Dr. Dawg and coming in with MMRadio when they first talked to me about, doing a show for them, is that I don't like the injustices. That bothers me about anything. If it's injustice or if something's not right, I have a problem with that, and I need to talk about it or try to do my best. And am I going to make things right or correct it, or I don't know, but I am going to bring it out to light. I am going to work on a show that does represent the underground of indie artists, and figure out a show that just constantly plays you guys, boom, 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 just like a hamster wheel, round and round. And so there's your rotation, but the rotation is going to be constant. And we're going to bring in new artists. And, MMRadio and Dr. Dawg, we do this show. I do this show for no cost, for free. And the reason I do that is because I love music, and I love artists, and I love people like you and the music that you create, because, and as this takes a lot of time. Magpie Sally editing on his side is just like, I mean, he's like, no time for anything else. And I'm doing interviews and talks and doing other things. And it's like, we put a lot of time in, and we get, zero back financially. And that's okay, because we're sitting here doing it. And if it wasn't okay, I wouldn't be sitting here doing this. I'd be saying, no, I need to be paid. But no, I'm giving my time up and, to something I believe needs to be done. And same thing with the industry. I'm going to look again. I mean, am I going to make things all change overnight? No, but I'm going to bring to everybody's attention, like, listen, you guys, the average person, you don't understand this. These guys are getting screwed. These guys are getting bent over. They're getting ripped off, and, they are creating phenomenal music. And, some of the companies, promoters and stuff, they're making this, and, the artists are making this and working their butts off for it. And it's sad. And I like I said, it's an injustice to me that the artists, especially independent artists, because you have to be signed by a label or be mainstream to be out there. That's doesn't make sense to me. Good music is good music. And that's back to the point of that lane has always been over there. Because part of what I had in my plans is this lane over here in the grass is figuring out how to get more of that out to the world. Right. And you're doing exactly that, which is a give back, right? It is a give back, and it's pointing to people. It's like, here, count, and it's like you're then building it on your word of people going, oh yeah, I like what he's doing. I want to hear more of what he recommends, because it cuts through all the clutter. Yep. Well, it cuts through all the clutter. It's reality. It's the truth. And I don't sugarcoat anything. And again, like I said, if wrong's wrong and right's right, that's great. But I always had this, and maybe it was the way I was raised, but I don't sit back for injustice. If I can say something, if I can do something, if I can make a change, I'll do it. I don't just sit back and say, oh, well, that's wrong. They're getting screwed. Oh, too bad. I'm looking at, well, why are they getting screwed? How can we change that? And how can we get this music out to other people. And I go back. I mean, I remember back in my day, the underground radio stations, and it's like, oh man, you found so many great bands on the underground. And did they ever become mainstream? No, but they were phenomenal music. And it's like, I don't care if you're mainstream, low stream, midstream, or whatever. If I like your music, I'm going to listen to you. Plain and simple.
It's like popular music. It's popular. Pop music is popular music.
Yes.
It's that simple. It's this over here is not as popular, but it all depends on what they're putting out there too. You know, it's that they just keep putting, oh, they like that. Let's give them more of that.
Yes.
People don't know what they want to hear. They don't until they hear it and go, hey.
You know, I was just getting ready to say that, especially here in the U.S. And you know, we don't know what the hell we want to hear and listen to. We don't. Everybody is just, they don't know. They don't have any clue of what really they want to hear. There's so much crap out there that, oh yeah, I like that. Oh, I like this. It's like, no, you don't really like it. It's just out there and you're listening to it and that's it. But
it's all on the menu, right? That's all you got in the menu. Pick one.
Yeah. It's like,
let's open up the menu a little bit. What about that over there? Oh, well, that's interesting.
See, that's my whole point, is that we've got a 3 selection menu in front of us right now. Where we could have a 20 selection menu in front of us. And it's just like, why are you cutting, you know, the menu so short when you could expand it? And really, if the radio stations, if the music industry, if they really cared, they would be saying, we need to pump out as much good music, new music, different music as we can, other than, like, here, I'll listen to a radio station and I hear the same playlist every freaking day, the same artist over and over, the same song over and over. And I'm thinking, dude, whoever's putting your songs together for the station, they need to change it up, because it's like you're just playing a replay, you know, even though the disc jockey or the DJ is on there and they're talking, but it's like you're playing the same music.
Well, and then back to the point of serving the song and serving the artist. So when I run into producers that would say, and this seems to be a common statement, well, that's on the radio right now. I don't care what's on the radio right now. Can we do something different? That's on the radio right now. That's there. It's like that painting is on the wall. We don't need to paint it again.
Right.
We don't need paint by numbers. Let's make our own. And it's the same with the sound of songs, like serve the artist. Let's really hear their voice. What's the textures in their voice? That's what I want to hear. I want to hear those little imperfections. Oh, listen to that. Oh, that's cool. Bring it up louder. And the same with production. Verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out. Well, that's good. We all know that's good foundation. So, this started different. Oh, look at that. There is no real chorus. It's just a refrain. Oh, that's cool. That's different. You know what I mean? It's all those things of, yes, you have to have your chops. You have to have the basics, like ballet. Ballet is a good foundation, right? My daughter was a ballerina. Long time ballerina. So I understand that foundation, but from that, so now you've got all the moves, you've got the hands, you've got this. That's a good foundation to start.
Yes.
It's solid. It's like learning your guitar. It's found. Now you can start experimenting a little bit. Oh, cool. Oh, we're starting that. We're starting with the chorus. Yeah. Yes. Why not? It works.
Yeah. No, 100%. You have to have that foundation, and we're going to be coming out with Sorry I'm Late. Here it is.
Had an obligation I had to keep, a conversation I couldn't leave, a ton to do so I didn't sleep, a lot of people I wanted to please. Had a pile of clothes I had to wash, had to raise the kid and walk the dog, grab the groceries and drop them off, had so much to do that I forgot. Sorry I'm late, but there's 1,000 things I had to do today, and another 1,000 things that I would love to chase that have to wait. Sorry I'm late. Had a stack of bills I had to pay. At 25 years I know that saved me. Had a moment moment there where I kinda wanted, thought I had enough time, but it took longer. I got caught on another road and the clock didn't stop, and I got older. There were years there where I lost a page, had a lot of plans I couldn't change. Sorry I'm late, but there's 1,000 things I had to do today, and another 1,000 things that I would love to chase that I have to wait. Sorry I'm late. 22 turns 29, 31 turns 35, 41 and 43 run quickly into 50, and 51 meets 53, and right beside is 55, and 56 I can't believe when it's still right at 60. Sorry I'm late, but there's 1,000 things I had to do today, and another 1,000 things that I would love to chase that I have to wait. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I'm late. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm just, I don't know. This will be all edited out, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm so disgusted about the industry and some of the things that's going on that, because I'm old school, and I've been in this industry for a long, long time, and the changes they just kind of just disgust me in ways. It's just like I just don't understand what's going on, why they're cutting the heads off.
I don't know what the plan is. The plan doesn't work. Like when I look at streaming, and I think, okay, just from a business perspective, all right, just simple business perspective. Here's Spotify. Let's do this the way a publisher does it, for instance. You provided the song, so you got the product, I got the means to get it out there. We'll split this 50-50. That seems like a good business in to me. It's not about, I don't understand. I just don't understand why that's so complicated. Actually, right now with the writer's strike in LA, I'm on side to go, this is complicated to figure out. I hope they can figure it out, but it's not dissimilar to the problems that musicians are having in the streaming world of not being compensated for what they do.
Exactly.
I've got one song in particular. It's probably got 8 million streams on it at this point. I think, and I'm a 25% writer in it. I think I might have seen about $600 on it over 4 years.
Because you get like isn't it like 0.000?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
0.04 for every stream. I mean,
and even that doesn't work. It's just like, it's laughable right now in the streaming world of, you can get shorts with the little tiny pocket in them for running. You put your change in there. The joke is that's where you keep your Spotify money. Right?
Yeah. Well, if you get any at all, I mean,
no, but that's sad. It's sad.
It is sad.
It's such, and musicians aren't typically business people who want to sit there and be business managing where their money comes from. And it's such a gray web of where is the money, like Snoop a while ago going, okay, folks, everybody in this room, who the fuck is running streaming in here? Because I got 1 billion streams. That should mean I have at least $1 million, right? Well, I don't got that. Okay, point taken. And so it's not just me over here going, where's the money?
Right.
He's going, I'm talking about massive money here. Anyway, I don't know. It's very convoluted. I don't understand it.
Well, but somebody's making the money. We know that. And it's not the artist. And again, when you can refer back to Snoop, which is such a huge artist, and him saying, I've got all these streams and where's my money? And it's not there. Think about 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, these guys were rolling in the money. I mean, they were being compensated. They were being paid for their craft, for their art, and boom, it's just totally flipped. And from what I gather, and it's been a while for us, but talking to the artists, that the only way you're going to make any money at all now is getting back on the road and touring again. And it's just
and that shouldn't be the only option.
No.
That's nice, and that should be okay. And if you want to do that, you want to do that. But if you're working your ass off, you should be able to, like they used to say, well, you can get it on the back end. Where is the back end?
Right.
When they talk about songwriters, you used to be able to, well, Snoop again said, it used to be.
Excuse me.
I produced an album. I put an album out. If I put out an album, I had this many albums sold, and I knew what I was going to make on that. That's not the way it is anymore.
Right.
And for songwriters in particular, it used to be, you would write with somebody and you get it on the back end. But now when they say, well, you get it on the back end, there's no back end. So now songwriters, like I know when I'm working with people, it's like, well, here's the fee to write, produce, because there's no back end.
No, it's sad. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I sit and think about try to pinpoint where it all changed, and so drastically. It's just such a drastic change from the way that artists and musicians were being treated and compensated and taken care of to basically, we're just going to shove your song out on whatever platforms, and they think they're doing work for you, but they're not. iTunes, iHeart, YouTube, whatever. Yeah, again, that's fantastic. But
it is. It's a great vehicle. There's great vehicles out there, but
if I don't know about you, or I haven't heard you,
I know.
How am I going to find you?
I know.
And that's the key, is that if your song is being played, eventually it's going to be, put into people's minds. If it's played over and over and over, they're going to know it. If it's played once every week or every 2 or 3 days with a bunch of other songs, it's like listening to the radio in your car. Okay, you're listening. Yeah, it's a good song. But you don't really, where am I going to find her at? Where do I go look for her at? You just sit there. It's a good song, but nobody knows where to find you and how to find you. And if your name isn't being announced and your song's not being announced, it's like, I don't even know who this person is. Who sang this song? What's the name of the song? I can't even look it up because I don't know the name of the song.
Shazam.
It's just unreal. So getting to the closing part of and this has been a great interview. I want to say thank you so much. What advice would you give to starting artists, beginning artists, upcoming artists that are already out there but are struggling? Because just what we talked about as far as getting their music out, trying to do something with it, who to trust, who not to trust, anything that you can give these guys, because you've got an extensive amount of knowledge and education, anything that you could give them that they can take and just kind of chew on and think about.
Well, you know what? I would say when it all comes down to it, truly go with your heart. Go with your gut. Be yourself. That's it's fun to be other things, but when it comes down to it, lately I've been saying, live for the real, REAL, as opposed to the REEL.
Yes.
Like life is what happens in between all the posts.
Yes, exactly. No, I agree.
And because it's really one time around, right? And you got to live your life in there too. Your life is what gets you songs. The life is what you write about. The life is what you feel. The life is what gets you through, brings you joy. It's all of that. So live your life, believe in yourself, and go with your heart.
Yes, that's good advice, guys. You should listen to that. That's definitely good advice. Well, I want to thank Rosanne Baker Thornley for being on the show with the Dawg. I mean, it's been a great time with you, Rosanne, and I've learned a lot just by talking with you, and I really have felt the passion and the commitment that you put into your music. And again, it's not always my experience to find that in an artist, and when I do, it's refreshing. And again, I respect and love all artists and genres of music and musicians, but just like a song, there's some artists that you speak with that really touches you and makes you feel something about their music and how they feel and what they think. So it's been a great honor to have you on my show, and I want to thank you again. And listeners, you can find, let me ask you this, Miss Rosanne, where can the listeners find your music and your videos and stuff?
You know what? I would say probably the best place to find me as sort of my hub would be my website. And I believe this for all artists, that they should be pointing to their websites, and that's where you should then direct where you would like people to go, to your videos, to your SoundCloud, to Spotify, wherever, all the other. But the core of you is your website. So that would be rbtsong.com. And there you'll find, information on me. You'll find the videos. You'll find links to music. You'll find merchandise. You'll find blogs and reviews. And there's two sides to my site. Of course, there would be. There's the artist side you can go into, or there's the writer side you can go into, because they're cool. They're the same, but they're slightly different. Like on my writer's side, I've always got my camera in front of me. I'm always taking photos of people. So it's not about me so much as my artist side. So that's where I go, rbtsong.com.
You guys got that, rbtsong.com. So make sure, because that's a prescription the doc's going to give you right now. Is 3 times a day, you got to go check that out. Okay, 3 times a day, you got to check that out for the dog. So again, it's been my honor and pleasure to have you on my show, Rosanne, and it's just been great. So everybody else, keep out there rocking. I want to thank Dogbone Studio, MMRadio, Magpie Sally. Keep on rocking. Dr. Dawg and Rosanne Baker Thornley out. We've left the building. Have a good one, guys. Take care.
The good, bad, and the ugly with Dr. Dawg on MMRadio, the show where we get real about the ups and downs of band life.
To infinity and tastiness with MMRadio.